You're always a great bellwether in terms of how the world looks. Top line from you is that you've got growth in APAC and a decline in the UK and Ireland. Talk me through the nuances of UK and Ireland, first of all. Has the election and the Brexit confluence in the press hit you yet?
Well, no. If you remember, when I came on about a year ago, we'd been hit very hard by the uncertainty going into the Brexit poll and afterwards. At one point, we'd lost almost 20% of our activity level. That quickly stabilised. We've effectively lost 10% of our business around Brexit. But actually, since November, we've been sequentially flat as a pancake, very predictable business. Okay. And the positive, if this is a positive, is with the uncertain election result coming out in early June, we've had no weakness in our trends at all. Underlying, though, for the UK, very tight cost control across all companies. So you've got private sector businesses still doing some investments, but only investments that are giving a return on a 6 to 18-month time horizon. You would be a very brave company in the UK now to go and spend 50, 100 million on a large capital investment project in the UK unless you had the phone call to somebody in government that you could say, can you give me a guarantee?
So let's stick with the UK story for a moment. We're looking at the export side of the economy and trying to work out where, how much upside there is there. We're in a sort of sweet spot with Europe at the moment where we're still in the EU, weaker pound. I was reading a story about about law firms managing to export more services and the benefits they're getting from the weaker pound at the moment. Are we seeing anything in your numbers that tell us about, services sector managing to weather the storm and export more? Is that part of the story?
I'm struggling to get real positivity in the UK. I do apologise. I think you've got some pockets. I mean, we could have a long debate where the growth in legal firms coming and how much of it is Brexit and regulation based. Clearly, a lot of that is there, setting up businesses abroad, all those things. Look, I think now most companies, whether it's in the service sector, in the manufacturing sector, have a very clear game plan now over the next 12 to 18 months. The positive in our results is since last November, we've been sequentially flat. So when we come here in a quarter's time, if that is the case, we'll be about zero. I'm not really expecting that to change very much over the next 6 to 12 months. The great thing for us is 75% of our business is outside of the UK. Right,
Well, let's go outside. I want to take you into Europe and specifically into France. We saw the theatre of Macron and Donald Trump yesterday. What I want to understand, you've often said to me when you come in and to Anna that you have a dexterity in terms of where you'll deploy the capital. To that end, are you going to deploy more capital in France? How optimistic are you that Macron can deliver structural change? And what would that do? How could that impact the bottom line for you at Hays? Are you dancing the Macron?
Well, I think it's actually more than that. The real positivity happened 2 to 3 years ago. To put it into context, our business in France has gone from making about 4 million profit 4 years ago to making about £12 million this year. So this is not a Macron impact.
Okay.
Although, funnily enough, after the first couple of years in the Hollande government, when there was massive uncertainty, it's been a very business-friendly set of legislation. Now you've got one additional part on top. You've got a very photogenic Prime Minister in a good position, good mandate, and that has to be business supportive. So I think the positive is there was already momentum there. You've now got political certainty over the next few years. And it's not just France, it is the whole of Europe. So we were up 14% in this quarter. We've doubled the size of our business over 4 years. We have a very clear route map towards doubling the profitability again over the next 4 to 5 years.
So cyclical upturn in France, tick. Structural upturn, yet to be delivered. Do you see real results achievable on that front?
We'll find out in the next 3 to 6 months, because at a point in time, for any French president, you have to take the unions on. So you have to make a series of labour laws to increase flexibility, and the real question mark is, when there's large strikes on the street, when you've got the lorry drivers and tyres are burning and everything else, will the government hold its nerve? Macron has a one-off opportunity over the next 6 to 12 months to push the labour reforms and push that through while you have the support. He has to make sure he does that. If he does that, then I also think you have an added kicker for the French economy. And for lots of reasons now, France and Germany together, lots of opportunities for investment. And as I said on the last show when Manus was here, this is the most positive, universally positive I've seen the European economy now since 2006 and 2007.
Something that Anna and I have talked about. We talked about pay caps yesterday that Hollande has implemented in France. We've talked a little bit, as you say, get ready for a few punch-ups in terms of wages. This is the wages story in Europe, Paul. And it doesn't make for fantastic reading. Germany's even beginning to fall over in terms of wages. What can you tell us? I mean, Germany's an incredibly important market for you. Is there a tightness there? Is there something you've seen that we're not seeing in these charts on wages?
No, look, we could put the whole of the world on this chart and it's not going to be too dissimilar. You know, I've done a little joke over the last few years of most companies do 0 or 2 because 1 is insulting.
Yes.
The underlying situation globally, we're a very global economy. All companies are under continuous margin pressure. We're all, as a business, having to reinvent ourselves, looking for efficiencies in our own business to improve margins or to at least protect the margin squeeze that's in play. In that situation, what you do is, for your star performers, absolutely you look after them. They get decent wage rises. But what you don't get now, that you would have had 10 years ago, is across the line 2, 3, 4% inflation increases everywhere. What you now get is a quite low annual increase and very targeted investment. And I don't see that changing. Now, in Germany, it is a beautiful economy at the moment. And for Hays, Germany now, actually, it's quite a milestone. It's now our largest business globally. So Germany's just overtaken the UK in this quarter. It's our largest profit generator. We're doing an Investor Day in November where we set up the roadmap to doubling profitability from 100 million euros this year to about 200 million euros over the next 5 years. It's our biggest opportunity and we're a dominant player there.